What's up, y'all? It's your boy, KevOnStage, with my good friend, Terrence Parsons.
What's up, everybody? How you doing?
He is an atheist.
Yes, I am.
We've been friends, I don't know if it was longer than you were. Okay, so here's the thing. Terrence used to hang around the barbershop that my brother used to work at, so we've known each other for a lot longer than
maybe
I know
a decade.
Yeah.
Maybe 10
and
years.
I probably only knew he was an atheist when I started taking him home from the comedy shows, so...
Thanks for putting me on blast like that. Taking me home from the comedy shows. Thank you, Kevin.
Well, we were friends. I wasn't trying to big time you. So
Yeah.
we're friends probably 10 years. I only known he was an atheist for 3 years. For those of you who are like, you could be friends. Well, he was my friend before he told me about atheism. So this is Ask an Atheist. I've been waiting to do this for a long time. I'm back home in Tacoma. Terrence lives in Tacoma. So we're going to shoot this video, put the questions out on Facebook and Instagram. So we're going to get started. Are you ready, Terrence?
I'm ready, man.
All right, first question. Why are you an atheist?
Main reason I'm an atheist is because, like, it happened. It wasn't something I chose. The atheist life chose me. No, honestly speaking, like, I was raised like a lot of people to be Christian, to believe in God. I didn't come from a real religious family, but we did believe in God. And it just, as I got older, I just didn't see religion as real. I didn't see the idea of a God as real. I wanted to badly, and I didn't just become an atheist overnight. This is a years-long process. Like, I wanted to believe in God so badly that I started dipping off into other religions. Like, you know me, Kev, I'm a huge rap fan.
Yep.
I'm a huge rap fan. And a lot of rappers are Muslim, like Nas, Rakim, Lupe Fiasco. And at the time, I was really big in that kind of hip-hop music. So I told myself, you know what? I'm not a Christian, I'm a Muslim, because a lot of black nationalism is based in Islam.
Yep.
So for a while, I was trying to follow that. And even in there were just things I just did not like see or, you know, agree with. Then I just started, you know, reading into a lot of religion, and I'm also a huge science person. And even when I was a kid, I kind of realized that science and religion don't always add up.
Right.
It's kind of you believe one or the other, you know, and I trust scientists. I mean, they're amazing at what they do. You know, it's not an easy field of
You
work.
believe in science. Have you seen Nacho Libre?
Yeah,
I believe in science.
Yeah, but honestly speaking, you know, that just kind of where it starts, man. I just wanted to believe in God, and after a while, the evidence of Him existing just never appeared. Just doesn't. I don't see it.
So were you like? So I know it was like a process. So were you like? Did you have like a clear thought one day, like, you know what?
No, it wasn't a clear thought. It was.
Okay.
I wanted to believe in God, man. Like people, a lot of atheists feel this way. We just don't see it. We just don't like the evidence.
So there's no empirical evidence?
There's no tangible evidence.
Tangible
You don't
evidence?
see God. You can't hear God. I mean, in your mind, you can hear whatever you want. Like, for instance, like the base core value of religion is faith, you know, which is belief without evidence. You believe something without belief, you know, you believe in something without any tangible evidence of it.
Right.
Like, for instance, like if you kill, someone said, Kevin, you were accused of killing somebody because I know you, I have faith you didn't do it because you're not that kind of person. That's how I use the word faith.
Right.
But like how I look at religion is, if I was to say, hey man, I have a monster in my closet, and you say, no, there's not. And if I said, have faith, I see a monster in my closet, I believe that's the same exact thing as saying there's a God in the sky.
Okay. So here's here's what, when I was a kid, when we used to teach us what to say to atheists, they would say, well, air is not real. I mean, not real, but air is not something you can touch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how can you believe in air? Because you can't, you know, there's a lot of things. How does a cell phone work? You know, they tell us that it does this, but that can't be, you can't see that. You know what I mean? So what's your answer to that?
My answer to that is there's a lot of things us normal people that don't go into a scientific field of study cannot explain because we don't have the education to explain it. If I was to say, how does air work to a scientist that studies it, they will sit here and break that down to me. Like, there's that show, have you seen The Cosmos or heard of it?
Yeah.
The Cosmos,
Black dude with
Neil
crazy
deGrasse
voice?
Tyson. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, like, it's a good example of how they break stuff down to you that you would never know on your own.
Right.
You know, I mean,
He talked about religion in that, though.
Of course he does.
Remember, I don't remember the scientist's name, but he was trying to, actually, this is interesting that we're talking about this. He was saying that, basically he was saying God is, this is when they used to think Earth was it. There was no galaxy. And he was saying God is bigger than Earth. Like, why don't y'all believe that, you know, there's more than just this? Like, he's a huge creator.
Yeah.
They killed him for that. Like, they ostracized him from religion. I mean, like, and they literally were just like, you're a heretic, and killed him.
That's because religious people don't like arguing.
True.
Religious people is believe what I believe or you're dead. Like, it used to be that way. Now it's like, at least we can have these kind of conversations.
Okay.
Which I think are good.
Next question. Did you? Well, this is kind of similar. Did your parents influence / teach you that there was no God?
No. My dad is one of those super hypocritical Christians. He's Christian when he needs to be. He's Christian when he doesn't feel like he needs to be. My mom believes in God, but was never much of a churchgoer. But definitely in my household, my grandma went to church every week. I definitely went to church with family members and stuff. So the presence of God was there in my life. I mean.
So was it harder? Do you think it was harder growing up Christian to go to atheism as opposed to like having parents who didn't go? You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say it's harder, man. It's just one of those things where it's like everyone has questions. We're all looking for answers. And I think for me, it was I just felt more comfortable believing that there just isn't, spiritual forces out there.
Okay. Here's the question. Have you ever thought about not being an atheist?
Of course I have. I would love for some evidence of God to show up. It just hasn't really shown up for me to say, oh, there's God,
Right.
Like a lot of times when people say it's God, it's a series of coincidences. That's how I feel about it.
That's funny because when Terrence is my friend on Facebook too, so when I thank God, when he got Little Rascals or something like that, Terrence will comment on my Facebook, is it really God or is it like you working so hard? I'll be like, Terrence, get off my status and let me praise God for what I believe he did in my life. And it's interesting because I don't believe in luck, and people who believe in luck, the same thing can happen and they'll say, well, that's just bad luck. I don't believe in luck. You know what I mean?
So here's a question. How do you not believe in luck?
I think everything happens for a reason, and that those reasons are predestined by God.
So if I close my eyes and shoot a basketball backwards, God guided that basketball goal to the hoop, or I'm just lucky.
Well,
see what I'm saying? That's something trivial. Does God really have time to watch me close my eyes and shoot a basketball behind my head to see if it'll go in the hoop?
I don't know. What does that have to do with luck, though?
It's luck. It's every bit like 20 bucks.
If you made the shot.
If I made the shot, yeah, my bad. I'm sorry.
No, I
made the shot.
I mean luck, coincidence, like you were saying, people feel like I just made it in this industry because I got lucky. You know what I mean?
You worked hard.
I do agree with that. I'm not one of those people who believes that if I have a gift or talent and I just don't do it, we do stand up, but I don't believe that God could just take me and make me an amazing comedian without the work. I feel like He anoints my life.
So He guided to you. He helped anoint you to help you.
Right. I believe that. I believe that.
Do you know what I look at that as though? Honestly, that's inspiration. If you are inspired by God, then you can do amazing things. I do agree with that. Look at a lot of athletes. A lot of athletes are inspired by God. Some of them secretly inspired by their own ego, masquerading as God.
Next question. What do you believe happens after you die?
Honestly, don't know. I have no idea. I mean, there's studies that show how the brain goes away and down or whatever, but I don't know. And just to answer the counter question is, what if I'm wrong or whatever, because that's always the counter question. I've been to this is my first rodeo in this argument. I mean, I am black, and I do a lot of,
right.
I hang out with a lot of black people still. The idea, I'm not afraid that there is a God, and if He exists, that He's going to come before me and be that mad at me. That's just my opinion. If God does exist, He'll be like, I understand. I think God is, if He exists, He's very, what's the word I'm looking for here? He'll understand. He's very understanding. He'll give me time to understand, is what I think, if He does exist.
Okay, so do you think most Christians believe in heaven or hell, judgment day, heaven or hell? So if He does exist and you are standing there on judgment day, do you believe you'll be placed in heaven or hell?
Oh, hell, I'm going to hell, dude. Straight down.
Automatic? Trap door?
If that's what they believe. I don't even get the trap door, man. I just do the whole...
Terrence Parsons, I know. If you go up to Judgment Day, Terrence, I know.
Hey, but you know what though? Most you Christians are going to be there with me. Most you so-called Christians are there with me.
Why do you believe that?
Because, man, okay, we're going to get into this real quick. Me and Kevin talked about this before. I told Kevin a million times that this is my favorite Christian because he actually lives by what he preaches, okay? And this is why a lot of people become atheists too. There's a lot of you guys out there that will preach to me because I'm an atheist, yet live wronger than I am, okay? But yet because I don't believe, you think because you hold some kind of guilt for your actions that saves you, but it doesn't. If you believe in something, practice it. Practice what you preach. That's all I say.
That's real, no.
That is honest, no.
That's real.
If you're going to be Christian, be Christ-like. That's all I'm saying.
And what is Christ-like?
Christ-like
to you.
Christ-like to me, he seemed like he was a great guy. He was an amazing dude. He loved everybody. He wasn't really judgmental. He practiced what he preached, essentially, He had a lot of good philosophy.
The reason Terrence believes is we know a lot of the same people in Tacoma. It's very small.
Especially the black community, man.
And the black community even smaller. So there are plenty of Christians and people in like, we're talking like pastors and ministers that have fell from grace. So that's why Terrence is like, dude, you want to preach? You know what I mean? Like, every time it happens, he's like, get your boy, Kev.
Well, it's funny. Well, what's funny is like Kevin, if he hears something he doesn't agree with, he'll call it. Well, did you say one time a preacher said an ATM machine or was the devil or something like that?
Yeah.
I was like, the ATM machine is the devil. Right. But the problem is some of you guys are sheep and you believe everything your preacher says. You know?
That's true. You gotta read I say the Bible. You gotta read the Bible for yourself. Yeah. Study to show thyself approved. Okay, next question. Who do you call on when you're in trouble?
My mom. I mean, who do I call? Like, here's the thing.
I do have a question too. So, like,
I don't reach out for any extra force out there because I don't believe there is one.
Does that like? I feel like, okay. So here's a perfect example. Did you know Tracy Morgan got in a car accident?
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Yeah. So I feel like, I like Tracy Morgan. You know, we like his comedy.
We talked about him before.
Yeah. So when that happens, I feel like I can pray for him. You know what I mean?
Well, I look at it like this, man. Okay, prayer. That's a good topic. Okay. I look at it like there's been studies on prayer. They've done a lot of studies to see what prayer is and what it, how it works. And they've done studies on people that have the same sickness, and they've had. Here was the study. It was the common one they do. It's they have people pray for someone and tell them. They have people pray for someone and don't tell them, and they have someone they just don't pray for.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? Okay. And what they've shown is the person that actually got prayed for and told, there's a little bit of anxiety on them. Like, come on, man, I got to pull this through. They prayed for me.
Really?
There's added anxiety to them, which can complicate surgeries just a tad bit more because of the anxiety added to them. Like,
interesting.
Because when like you're getting put to sleep, you can fight that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that, but you can. And like it adds anxiety to them before that can happen. But what I'm saying is like...
How do they know to tie that to... Oh, okay, so they're saying... And then they study the anxiety levels of the people who didn't get prayed for.
Exactly. But there is anxiety. Like,
But there's no way to study whether they pull through or none of that stuff. That's interesting. That it adds anxiety.
I told you. I became an atheist. I looked through everything. This wasn't like a thought out of the air. I looked this stuff up. Right. I was very...
Meticulous.
Yeah, meticulous. I was trying to figure this out, man.
Okay, so next question. Do you know that Jesus still loves you?
I'm sure he does.
The way you made your face like that was just funny to me.
I'm sure he does.
Okay, next question. Why do you think people think atheists can't get morals without religion?
We can get morals without religion. It's inherent in us, actually. It's in our genetics to get... Morals are actually in our genetic code. Like, when you're born, you know not to slaughter random people. You know to, like... It's like an inherent thing we have. It's in our genetics, we just know there's certain things that are inherent in us. I'm actually making this look bad because I'm stumbling over my words.
But that's all right. Well, it's like I guess you're not the perfect atheist. Is there model atheists that?
Oh hell yeah! There's Bill Maher. There's oh my god, yes. You've never watched this show? He attacks religion all the time. He actually has a whole movie called Religious that tries to prove there's no such thing as God or any religion exists.
I mean, I watch a show, but I don't think I've never sat down.
Bill Maher he's a power atheist. He's like probably the de facto leader of atheism.
Really?
Him and Richard Dawkins.
I don't know Richard Dawkins.
Richard Dawkins wrote the book The God Delusion. God is a delusion. It's mass delusion. It raises a lot of good points that this is what pretty much Richard Dawkins said. What he's saying is it's not necessarily facts or things not being real. It's that if a bunch of people believe an idea, whether it's real or not, it's still delusion. And it's mass delusion.
That was the KKK too.
Same thing.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Do you think atheism takes faith?
No.
Really? So is it like the lack of faith?
It's not the lack of faith. It's not faith. I mean, I think it's like there's a lot of these trick questions people try to give you. Is atheism a religion? Does atheism take faith? That's like saying, is abstinence a sex position? You see what I'm saying? That's pretty much what you just told me. You know what I mean? Like, all I'm trying to say is, like, it doesn't take faith to be an atheism. You just see the world for what it is. And you don't believe there's more to what we see. Okay. And I think it's interesting. Life would be more interesting if there was more to what we see. That's how I feel.
Okay. What drives or continuously furthers your disbelief?
Honestly speaking, I mean, there's nothing that drives my disbelief. I mean, just the fact that I get disgusted with people that say one thing and do another, but this is supposedly what they believe in.
So every time you see a Christian or hear of a Christian...
Religions in any religion, really.
Oh, it's not just Christianity.
Christian and Islam is kind of the main one. I mean, we live in a Christian country.
Yeah.
But, I mean, anybody that believes...
So it's not that you don't believe there's a Christian God. You just don't believe in Like no Buddha.
I don't believe in any spiritual
Hindu, nothing.
Well, this is what's funny. I don't believe there's more to what we see. I don't believe there's any ghosts. I don't believe any of that.
Nothing supernatural.
No, I don't believe in supernatural one bit because there's no evidence of it. If there was evidence of supernatural, you think we would have found something by now.
What about like those scary movies that pass themselves off as real, like this really happened? You think that's all just Hollywood?
Of course it is, dude. You're in Hollywood. You know these things.
I remember Blair Witch when I saw that. I thought that was real.
That was a selling point.
I know.
That movie cost like $10,000 to make.
Okay, we talked about that before too.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Who do you think created you?
I believe in evolution. So, I mean, no one just...
If there's evolution, why is there still monkeys? Cat Williams said that in his comedy special I just watched.
Evolution. There's a whole episode of The Cosmos about it. I'd say see it if you have cable. If you can get access
to it. Is it on
Netflix? Not yet. I'm pretty sure it will be. But, I mean, evolution is one of those things. I'm not going to get into it because that's a whole long thing. But I just believe we did start as small cells and then over a million-year process we evolved. And the proof of evolution is the fact that we all have a DNA code, which is like a double helix with lines that go through it, which is millions and millions of them. And they've shown that through the course of years, they split. That the helix is split, that DNA can split, and it evolves or it mutates. And there's a thing called natural selection where the bigger, stronger, faster, more adapt's going to survive. So as things evolve, like for instance, say a polar bear, you know, when bears migrated north, when the polar bear evolved, who survived, you think, in the Arctic conditions, or who could get food? The bear that's white or the bear that's dark? See what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's natural selection. It killed off the Kodiaks that went up north because of the fact that they couldn't adapt to the environment. And that's how evolution essentially works. It's just the process of all that.
So why are there still monkeys then?
Because things can evolve and stop there.
And then keep evolving?
Yeah.
So is a human being the final evolution?
Mutation goes in different directions.
Okay.
We're constantly discovering new species.
Really?
Always. Scientists are always discovering
new species. So does it mean it's new or does it mean we just didn't know about it?
We didn't know about it. You know, we did not know about it.
Okay, next question. Do you believe you have a soul?
That's a good question. I don't believe necessarily in a physical soul, but what I do believe is we have an essence. Like everybody in this world, including me and you, we have two things in this world that no one can take from us, and when we die, it goes with us. That is our actions, that is our thoughts. Like Kev, all this amazing stuff he does when he dies, it's gone. His thoughts are gone, these videos are gone, all that. You know what I'm saying?
They'll still be on YouTube though.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't have your mind no more. You don't have your creative mind. And that I believe in the essence of a person. Okay. So in a sense, I am spiritual in that way. I believe we have something in this world that
So is that supernatural to you?
It's not supernatural. I just think it's just
like an aura, you know, like people talk about energy and chakras.
I believe in energy. Energy is very real. Like it's kind of like when you get in an argument with your girl. If you could tell who won the argument by how you act, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's like
here's the funny question: if someone pushed you off a building without a parachute to your death, what would be your first thoughts or words?
Probably dead. It's over for my life.
I assume if somebody pushed me, like I'm gonna die, I'd be like, what was that about?
Well, you're like this, Jesus, I'll see you in a second. That's what you're gonna be thinking.
I'd probably be like, oh no.
And that's one of the questions that like a lot of religious people or atheists kind of joke around with. Like, if you want to see God so badly, then why don't you just find a way to kill yourself? You know, that's like a question a lot of atheists have said. But I'm not trying to be one of those smart aleck atheists.
Right.
I used to be.
I remember. So we had a very friction-based relationship on atheists. So we just didn't talk about it for a long time.
Well, it's like kind of funny because like honestly, like it never really came up. He knew he was a Christian. I knew I was an atheist. We both knew it. It never was a problem. Like. We knew about it, and like I wouldn't even say there was even not really attention by it. Like, and I do get attention from some people because like when you tell people you're an atheist, like when people find out, because a lot of people, man, you just throw your belief in God in everyone's face, which is what you do. I understand it says that in the Bible. And the moment you say, "So Terrence, you blah blah blah," yeah, I don't believe in God. What? You just like
we were just talking about off camera because the camera keeps cutting off because I just have my iPhone.
Yeah.
And Terrence was telling me, which I didn't know that somebody asked Steve Harvey, what was it? They asked him.
Oh, okay. This is what I'm gonna say. In some interview, someone asked Steve Harvey, "What do you say to an atheist?" He was like, "Nothing. I don't talk to him. If you don't believe in God, you're dumb." And if that's how you believe, fine. But just know that makes you a bigot. That makes you a person no one wants to be around. And more than likely, people are gonna think you're a douche. You know, it's true, man. Like I understand you believe in God, but being arrogant about your belief does not help your product at all. Because there's a lot of people.
You call it a product.
It is. Religion is selling. You sell it. You sell religion. You sell it. So? I'll tell you like this. There's a whole thing I've seen on this. I told you, I've watched a lot of stuff.
I know.
Religion is a product. Check it out. First of all, it creates a need. there's in life, for instance, is there more to life? It tells you there's more to life. It creates an urgency. If you don't convert now, you're going to hell. So what does that do to people that are on the fence and they want that urgency? If I don't go to the church now and repent my sins, I'm going to hell for eternity. That's a very long time. So that need an urgency, to repent, it puts a guilt on you to become like that. And what I do understand is there are morals there that can help you, but there's also other things, let's just say, we can argue about.
Right. I think it maybe can be analyzed or passed off as the same way you package a product, but
exactly.
You know what I mean? But I don't know that it could be. I don't know that it is.
Oh, Christianity is a product. Okay. Why are there preachers out there that have private jets? You mean to tell me they're not selling something to make a profit?
Well, I mean, a lot of preachers are selling books or whatever. But I mean,
communion, taking the money. So preachers ain't taking that money from the church.
Oh my gosh! Why does everybody think that is probably the biggest stereotype of Christian? Here's the funny thing. Now, here's my chance to champion pastors because I worked in ministry, and
I know
most pastors, there's no money to take.
Wow.
Most pastors are out here working regular job. Now the stereotypical pastors, the huge one, that's like the 1% of that's like the Bill Gates of, you know what I mean?
Okay.
The average pastor has 40 members, 100 members. There's no tied money to steal. Most of them are putting their own money in to keep the doors open. You know what I mean? So if they steal the money, there's number one, there's no money to steal. Number two, if there was, it's not enough. And number three, most of them are just working hard to keep the doors open. You know what I mean? But the biggest ones that get the attention,
like Bishop Eddie Long,
the huge ones, especially when they fall, because they're, you know what I mean? They're a bigger target. It's like LeBron James. You know what I mean? He is one of hundreds of basketball players in the world, in the NBA, and thousands in the world, but he's this guy.
Oh, yeah,
so he cramps up during the game.
No, I agree with that. I can agree with that. It's just one of those things where, honestly speaking, I'm not in the church like Kevin, so he has the intel on this one. So this is just what people think. Like, if you watch a lot of TV,
that's the number one thing I say. That's the biggest stereotype of all. Yeah, but it's. I'm not saying it's. Of course, there's probably some pastors that stole the money.
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty.
But there's probably way less than the world wants you to think. Here's a funny one. What's your favorite color?
Green.
Okay, now we have that out of the way.
That was so important.
Why do some atheists swear to God but don't believe in Him?
It's an expression.
Oh, okay.
It's like one of those things where you say naturally because it's around you.
Like ouch, even though ouch has no.
By the way, in other languages, there's other words for ouch.
But it's the same idea.
Yeah, ouch. It's like, I swear to God, It's kind of like, hey, Kevin, what do all thugs say when they drive a point on? What do they say, Kevin? What do they put that on? What do they put that on?
I'm just laughing because that's one of your best jokes to me. I put that on my mom. I put that on me. I put that on everything.
On their mom. Like, it's the same thing, man. You just, except like, swear to God, it's just something you just say,
Okay, here's an interesting one. I didn't know about this. What do you think about some atheists in the military wanting an atheist chaplain?
I don't know about that, man. Like, okay.
Isn't that an oxymoron?
It is an oxymoron.
Yeah, that's really
I've never heard that, but if they are, okay, I'll put it like this. Just like there's crazy out there, I'm sorry, I cuss. There's crazy atheists out there. Okay, just because I agree with somebody's religious beliefs doesn't mean I agree with all their ideas. Like, you know what? What's cool about church is the communion. Like, if I go to church, like, you invite me to church all the time. I haven't had a chance to go.
I'm speaking tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll pick you up and
I work, dude.
Do you?
Yeah.
What time?
Like 10 to 7.
Oh,
but now,
I brought an atheist to church. I win.
But no, honestly speaking, it's fun. The communion, the bonding. I understand that much.
Right.
You kind of walk away when you leave with something. Sometimes the preacher says something you agree with. Sometimes the preacher, you're just like, what is...
Here's a good question. I want to word this correctly. How is it you actually believe there is no God, but believe there is a God to not believe in?
Because we've created it. It's kind of like saying, I don't believe in Spider-Man, but Spider-Man exists because someone created him and make a movie in him. It's the same exact thing.
So you acknowledge other people believe in them.
If I walk around Tacoma, like if I catch the bus around Tacoma or if I drive around Tacoma, I'm going to see churches, I'm going to see crosses, I'm going to see pictures of Jesus. So it's like McDonald's. I'm going to see arches, I'm going to see the logo. It's advertised everywhere. So of course you're going to people believe in God. It just doesn't necessarily mean you believe it exists in the real world.
Okay. Here's an interesting question. Did you know that atheists That an atheist doesn't exactly mean that you don't believe in God, but you're not just a member of mainstream religion. Do you subscribe to that?
Nah, it's kind of like we can get in this argument about atheist, agnostic, whatever. It just I don't believe a God exists.
Okay.
I can't prove a God exists at the same time. So
Okay.
I mean that doesn't necessarily mean, but the fact that you can't disprove something doesn't prove something.
Sure. Okay. If you were to believe in God, which religion is the most convincing to you?
I hate this question. That's like saying
It's interesting that you've done all these
This is
before.
why I hate
These
this
are so many
question.
to me
No,
that
I
are-
hate
that
this
are new.
question. That's like saying, so when you killed him, what kind of weapon did you
Okay.
use? That's
So
what you just did.
When did you stop beating your wife?
Yeah,
it's that question.
It's that question.
It's a trap question.
It's a trap question. I don't believe in God.
So there's none that.
There's that. It's that. That's why that's a redundant question. You know, that's like you just pretty much assigned me to be a religious person and to believe in one. But I mean, honestly, I would be a Buddhist because you haven't seen a Buddhist terrorist yet.
Well, I think Buddha. I was talking to Big Irish J about this because he subscribes to like a Christian Buddhist principle, and he was saying
Because
that,
he took martial arts for years.
Yeah,
martial
he
arts
was.
is very So.
he said, if you're a Buddhist, I want to quote him correctly. He said, if I'm a Buddhist and my wife is a Catholic, my job as a Buddhist isn't to convert her to Buddhism. It's to make sure she's the best Catholic ever.
And you know what's funny?
That's what
it is impossible for me to date a black woman when you become an atheist.
The next question is, do you face rejection because of being an atheist?
Okay, how do I say this without sounding arrogant? A lot of girls like my company. They think I'm fun to be around. They like me. They just don't agree with my religion. But I will say that, for instance, you and Melissa, you guys' Christianity is huge.
Yeah.
In your marriage.
Yeah.
You know, and I've told you plenty of times, you guys got like the perfect relationship. And not because of that, because you guys know how to work the relationship out. But that's something totally different. But what I will say is, I do come across a lot of women, and it's a deal breaker. It's just a deal breaker, and you just kind of accept that. But luckily for me, there's a lot of non-believers out there too. They're just not black.
Okay, here's a question. Well, actually, I got interesting after you answered that. It was a couple of relationship questions. If you met the love of your life and she was committed to a relationship with Jesus Christ, would you then convert to Christianity?
No.
Or would you risk losing your true love?
I'll put it like this. Can you love somebody that believes in a different religion as you? Because some people, it's extremely important. Mm-hmm. I've seen couples that you love each other, you love each other's company, you have a lot of, the same kind of beliefs aside of religion.
Right.
And I can be in a relationship with anybody. I can believe what I believe, they can believe what they believe. And that's how I look at it.
Here's a good question. Being black and Christian usually go hand in hand.
Yes,
How is your identity structured in a culture where you are a minority in a minority?
That's a
great
very good question. The best thing I could say is I'm strong about it. I will go against a whole barbershop on this topic. And
yes, I've seen it.
I will, because it's like people will try to guilt trip me. People will try everything in their power, but there's very real reasons why I believe what I believe. And to be honest, most black people that are atheists, they're very quiet. And my job as a black person that thinks this way is to say, hey man, it's okay to believe like this. It's okay to not be trapped in this system. You can break the system if you choose to. It's perfectly fine, I
have a friend who
in comedy, my God, like it's Kevin, I'm gonna tell you something real quick. I've seen you. All comics have bad shows. If Kevin is bombing, as soon as he goes to the church stuff, that audience will be like, yes, Lord, yes, Jesus. I believe, like, for real, you've done it. Have you not? Have you done it?
I know that. That's my best material.
No, that's who you are.
I mean?
No, that's your identity. But
Yeah,
I've seen
absolutely.
you say.
I'm sorry that these keep getting cut, but we're doing best we can.
Yeah.
Next question, Terrence. What is the most offensive thing someone's ever said to you because you're an atheist?
You get a lot of the same things. I mean, mostly it's by my aunt, which I told you.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I wish we could have got that part.
Yeah, we were laughing. He said that his aunt. We were recording and didn't realize the camera stopped. But he said that his aunt on Facebook just rips him to shreds.
Oh my God! If I say anything religious, man, my posts are over, and none of my friends will respond.
I just think it's
so
funny.
That's how scared my Aunt Karine is.
He says she's a holy writer. I just thought it would be like some barbershop thing, but he's like, that family member is.
I think when people respect your intelligence, sometimes they won't say certain things, but sometimes like random people, like I said, they give you you're an atheist, get away from me, heathen, demon, sinner. You can do it better. You can do that act out better than I can. Heathen,
Here's an interesting question: How do atheists get married?
We just get married the same way, man. We just don't. I mean, traditional marriage, we just don't put the Bible in it. I mean, marriage.
Do you think there's the same like moral You know,
to be honest, in my opinion, if I get married, I want to do a Game of Thrones style wedding with the cloaks and all that. Tell me that would be cool though.
Terrence is a gamer. If you don't know,
I'm a nerd.
He is a black gamer nerd. Cool, but that's why. But I'm a Game of Thrones fan, so I'm just like.
But you know, tell me that would be dope though. Like, I mean, you can do marriage any kind of way. There's been Star Wars weddings or whatever. I mean, marriage in this country and most countries, it's more of a tax thing than it is anything else. That's all. That's what it really comes down to. It's not your religion. It's the fact that if I meet a girl I like, I want to marry her, and if I die, she gets my assets. That's kind of what marriage does.
And it's a good tax credit.
It's this guy right here.
Why do you think? Why do atheists get so mad when Christians ask them about God?
It's not that we get mad. It's just, you know, when you're an atheist, I understand a lot of you Christians, you believe in what you believe, you want to save us, but it can get annoying, to be honest. Also, it can get annoying. And there's also the double standard of if I mention my atheism, I'm a bad guy, but if you mention Christianity, you're doing the right thing. I mean, we live in a free
here's an interesting thing. I'd say, so let's take Tim Tebow, for example, who's there's a very interesting thing that went on with him. It's like, let's take Tim Tebow and Michael Sam. Mm-hmm. If you take time back 30 years, 20 years.
God, yeah.
No, like Tim Tebow his Christianity really annoyed people, and Michael Sam's homosexuality belief he's championed 20 years ago.
I'll put it like this.
Tim Tebow would be in
the main reason is because we've came a long way in the gay rights issue. I look at it as if someone is gay, that's their business, that's who they are. I understand. I just watched Steve Burns' special, right? He's a really good comic. And he said it best. He was in Seattle for the Gay Pride Parade.
Right.
Not intentionally, he just happened to be there. And he said he saw this is what he said I thought was hilarious. He said he saw like they were having banners for equal rights. That's great. Then he saw dudes that had, you know, sparklers coming out their, you know, backside.
Right.
He was like, okay, that's too much. I get it. You're gay.
Right.
And I agree with that.
Rivera has the same thing. He's a gay dude.
He has the same thing. He's a great dude.
He was like, okay, I'm gay, and that's gay.
Yeah, I mean,
but Tim Tebow is like almost hushed his Christianity.
No.
You don't think so?
No, because this is what it is. Like Tim Tebow is. We can admit this. He's an okay football player.
Yeah.
But his Christianity is why he's popular. Even NFL players were saying that because he wears it on his sleeve so hard. He's kind of like. He's almost like the reincarnation of Jesus, dude. Like, he should literally run for president. He should run for president because,
well, here's the thing,
if you believe in God, you're going to sign him.
Who don't want him to talk about Christianity.
It's not that they don't want him to talk about it. It's one of those things where it's like, Tim Tebow also isn't the smartest person. He's a zealot. Have you ever heard him talk or interviews? But he's very powerful in his beliefs. He's very good at preaching his beliefs. But anything outside of that, he's not that smart or intelligent.
Right. But I mean, that's just a lot of people are just passionate about what they believe in.
I believe that.
You're passionate about atheism.
I'm passionate, true, but I'm not like trying to go on the streets to convert people. I'm not going to jails to convert people to atheism.
Do you think that's actually one of the questions? Why do some atheists get angry offended? Not who believe the next question, right? Why is Christianity singled out as the one atheists want to prove wrong?
Very simple, because if you live in America, it's the backbone of America right now. I mean, our forefathers weren't religious people, but somewhere along the lines,
were.
Are
you talking about like
Jefferson?
They wrote all this stuff.
No, they didn't. They were the one who said separate church from state.
Really?
That was them. That's why they're our forefathers.
Who's writing all?
To be honest, if you really look at it historically,
and I'll be honest, I'm not.
This is why I like Kevin. This is why I like Kevin. He's keeping it honest. Historically speaking, the Christian thing didn't become really strong until like the 50s, 60s, and 70s when politics changed a little bit. And then it became a good political point to be a Christian American.
But I remember I was watching...
people believed in God, but this whole strong Christian American thing...
Well, even like some historic documentaries, I remember like hearing, they were praying and, that we have to have God in... It
wasn't our forefathers. These guys.
When you say forefathers, you mean Jefferson
and Franklin,
and all those. Who are the other two considered?
I can't remember.
I mean, Jefferson, Franklin, probably.
There's the big ones. I mean, they owned slaves too, but
true.
Yeah.
Well, that was
sign of the times,
too.
Whatever. But
that was in the slaves were in the Bible.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually slavery. A lot of the oppressive ability for slavery came from biblical.
But what people also is like, we learn, we evolve, we understand. We grow as a society. That's why we know slavery is wrong now.
Well, that's pretty much all the questions there. I really appreciate the dialogue. This is probably the most in-depth we've ever had. I mean, I've asked my questions before, but you guys had questions I hadn't asked. It's interesting to me that there were so many questions that as soon as I read it, you're just like, here's this one. Like, there's some that you get so often, you know, that you're just
man,
like, ugh.
Sometimes, man, you're at a barbecue, someone gets drunk. Hey, Terrence, man, we're talking about this atheism stuff. Think about what I just said. Like, you know, you see, I mean, I really want to make this material, man, but it's too sensitive because I do a lot of, you know, black shows and whatever. But I mean, don't worry, you know, if you see me perform comedy, it's coming. Yeah. You know, and if you guys see me, don't be afraid to ask because I will argue the point.
You're much less argumentative than you used to be, though. You're
growing up, man. I turn 29 next week, man. I'm growing
up.
What?
Yeah. You're a man. But yeah, this is my boy Terrence Parsons. Follow him. What's your Twitter?
You guys, at Terrence, TRANCE_P.
He's also a great fan of Game of Thrones, so if you don't like atheism but love the show, he's great to talk about.
Oh my God, man, I can go in depth all day.
He's a gamer, so we're on Twitter like going crazy about Game
Seahawks fans.
Seahawks fans. It's funny because when I'm in LA, like Terrence and there's like, you know, 10, 15 people that I can always like, I can always count on to be on, because in LA nobody's tweeting about this.
There are now though, because they're popular.
Oh my God,
LA is such a.
There's so many Seahawks fans that weren't fans before the game, before the Super Bowl.
LA
like, where were you guys?
LA is a very bandwagonish kind of. Like, look how many Clippers fans there are now.
Bro, trash. For 30 years and nobody cared about it.
It had a racist owner, but people just,
it's like my son. I'm telling you, this is funny. Most bandwagon fans are like JoJo. When I watch basketball games,
he's still recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
When JoJo comes to see the game, he looks at the score. Whoever's winning, I'm going for the white team. So the Spurs are playing on Monday, first quarter, I'm going for the white team. Comes back in the third quarter, Heat are winning, I'm going for the red team. Like, he only goes, and whoever, at any time that he watches the game, it's who's winning at that moment. And he does not care.
He's shameless, though.
He doesn't care. I go for winners. Do you understand? Doesn't matter the sport, soccer, football, basketball. Funny. He just wants to go for the winners. But yeah, this is my boy Terrence. This has been Ask an Atheist. It's long, but I don't come back to Tacoma this often. So I wanted to get all the questions out. So thank you for watching, and see you tomorrow.
You guys have a good one.
I'm going to save you now. David!
What's up, everybody? It's KevOnStage. Go subscribe to my YouTube page. Don't you be bitter. Just follow me on Twitter. What's up, everybody? It's KevOnStage. Go subscribe to my YouTube page. Don't you be bitter.